Swords. Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and welcome to this regular meeting of the Attleboro School Committee for Monday, February 10th. This is your notice that this meeting is being electronically recorded. The first item on our agenda tonight is a spotlight from Wamsetta Middle School, and for that, I will turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Lori Regan.
Thank you, Chairman Geddes. It's our pleasure tonight to have Wamsetta Middle School with us. As you've heard me speak about before, inquiry-based learning is something that we've been focusing on with a couple of our curriculum programs, and tonight you'll hear about how that, in fact, is embedded in our social studies program called Investigating History. You'll learn more about our collaboration with the 1-8 Foundation, as well as how this set of students here tonight has integrated all of their learning into something called Canva, which is a digital technology tool to share what they have learned. So with that, I'll hand it over to Principal Kevin Atkinson.
Thank you, Mrs. Regan. Before we start, I just want to say thank you very much to the five ladies who came to help us tonight. So, girls, when I read your name, can you just say hello to the school committee? So can we start out with Lily Langmead?
Hi.
Hi.
Keegan Zacks. Liv Raposa.
Hi.
Hi.
Riley DeFusco.
Hi.
Hi.
And Harper Sullivan.
Hi.
Hi.
So as Mrs. Regan mentioned, the Attleboro Schools has a grant partnership with the 1-8 Foundation, an organization that supports applied learning initiatives and promotes 21st century skills in education. These skills mirror the Attleboro Public Schools portrait of graduate skills of communication, collaboration, innovation, and balance. Through 1-8, the middle schools have been able to implement a high-quality social studies curriculum called Investigating History. The professional development opportunities offered by IH make it possible for teachers to implement inquiry-based curriculum and create student-centered classrooms where students collaborate and have more of an active role in their learning. So, unlike some of the stand and deliver curriculum that many of us of a certain age received years ago, where it was more listening to or memorizing rote facts, the inquiry-based classroom of today is more of an active workspace where students become better communicators and thinkers and aren't just memorizing these facts. Further, these students are encouraged to build on their curiosity and make connections to show how the curriculum connects to their lives today. And to talk about this a little bit more, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Jessie Hill.
So as Mr. Atkinson said, this Investigating History curriculum takes a totally different approach to learning history. Investigating history is less focused on drilling the facts of years and wars, presidents, generals, less focused on those facts, and more focused on fostering the growth and skills that students need to be successful out in the real world. So students are taught how to think on their own, create questions on their own, and find answers without explicitly being told them in textbooks and without the teachers explicitly telling them the answers they need to learn. Investigating history teaches students how to be historians, which in turn really allows for students to take ownership of their own learning. Through this curriculum, students are building learning habits of the mind that are transferable to all curriculums and to all aspects of life. So much like the curriculum is quite different than other history curriculums before, their professional development is also ran much differently than many other PDs that I've attended, and I know my colleagues have attended in the past. So for these meetings, teachers are broken up into groups based on their level of familiarity with the curriculum. The Wamsetta 5th grade teachers were placed into an expert group, which allowed for us to work with other districts that have been using this curriculum for the same amount of time. We were able to discuss the units at a deeper level and really look into extension activities that were beneficial to all learners. So with extension activities that we talked about with other districts, we were really focused on having the students transform their knowledge as opposed to having students just tell their knowledge. So one extension activity that other districts had shared with us, and that was present within the curriculum if we had time to get to, was this abolitionist pamphlet, which the girls are going to touch base on in a little bit. So what we did differently, though, as opposed to just having the students write pamphlets by hand, drawn pictures, is we used Canva. And Canva is a technology platform that I learned about at a technology PD that the Attleboro Public Schools offered. It was led by different tech teachers in the district, and they were telling us what the students in elementary school were learning in those tech classes. And one of the platforms they used was Canva. And Canva seemed really awesome because it really makes learning more accessible. And it empowers students to share their learning in ways they haven't before. So in my class, I have students who are level 1 ELL students, meaning they can't really speak or write in English yet, but they still are able to do the curriculum the kids are doing, they just can't express it the same way. So Canva allows for them to express their knowledge through pictures, through visuals. They could embed videos of themselves speaking. Luckily, I can understand some Spanish, so they were able to embed videos of themselves speaking in Spanish, telling me what they learned. But then also, like for our students that aren't ELLs, they were able to get really creative with it, write, their own thoughts on different abolitionists, explain how the abolitionists connected to things like the Middle Passage, to different aspects of slavery, and then include animations to also demonstrate their learning. So some of our students are going to touch base on that. What I'm going to do is I am going to just pass out the paper versions of some of their pamphlets. These are not as exciting as the digital ones that we will show you, just because it doesn't include those animations, but I will hand these out. You guys can pass around and look at those as well. Alrighty, Riley.
I'll be talking about how I've enjoyed social studies in middle school. Last year, I felt like social studies was always the same thing. This year, I'm interested in learning. The curriculum is more fun, which helps me learn better. The projects we have done feel like they have more of a purpose. These projects are something I'm excited to do, which as well helps me learn. I'm now excited to go to social studies.
I'm speaking about the importance of learning about slavery. It's important to learn about slavery because of all the challenges it faced. People enslaved others, which was inhuman. They were forced to plant fields, work in houses, and more. It was wrong to enslave people because they were forced to come through the Middle Passage in the transatlantic slave trade. They worked against their will. The history of the United States is like an organized book, and it's important for us to learn all of the chapters that came before this one.
I will be talking about abolitionists and why they are important to learn about. Abolitionists despised slavery. They have fought for slaves' rights in many different ways. It is important for students to learn about this because it teaches us to have confidence and to fight for what we believe in. The abolitionists we learned about were Jenny Slew, who used the legal system and used laws to gain her freedom. Benjamin Lay was an abolitionist who would protest outside of churches in freezing weather, wearing clothes like slaves to make people feel bad for the treatment of slaves. Elizabeth Key Grinstead, whose father was free but her mom was a slave, she explained that in court her father's will had stated for her to be free, and she gained her freedom.
I'm going to be talking about why students enjoy Canva. Why I like Canva is because it can show what I am thinking through a fun and visual creative presentation. Canva is easy to use and has a lot of different templates that can be easily customized and changed to fit a variety of learning styles. Lastly, I love to use all the different fonts and pictures so that I can express my ideas creatively on all my assignments.
I'll be talking about how Canva helps students show learning differently than a test does. Canva is better because we can show our learning through colorful pictures and visuals. Canva shows my learning process better than a test does. On Canva, you have to type your thoughts, find pictures to represent your answers, and show your ideas creatively, which is different than memorizing for a test. Canva is less stressful than taking a test.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you, students. Fantastic work, both on the pamphlets and in your presentation tonight. Before we send them out, any questions or comments from the committee? Ms. Porto?
Thank you. Well, I use Canva in my work environment, so I understand your enthusiasm because it does help with presentations and just regular pamphlets for my industry. So keep up the good work with Canva.
Mr. Domenici?
Thank you. I just wanted to thank you all for coming up here and talking to us about why you're excited about what you're learning, and of course, Canva. It's not easy in front of a whole group of people to come up and talk, and I thought you all did very well, and I wanted to say thank you for that.
I'm sorry. Any other questions or comments? Excellent. So I'll echo what was said. You all did fantastic. Definitely keep up the good work, and I'm glad to hear that history is far more fun to learn than when I was in school and how I had to learn it. There were some history teachers, especially at the high school, that were just... but they turned out okay. So thank you all very much. I do want to pause here and give any family members in the audience an opportunity to take pictures of their students while they're up here at the table. If you'd like to come up and come right around to grab any pictures. And then you're welcome, of course, in the lobby to take any additional pictures of the group as well.
I can come around?
Yeah. I apologize, students. Don't be embarrassed by this.
Sorry. Yeah, it's written all over. You want to send it?
Some understandably proud family members.
Parker. No, Parker, you're too short. Parker's too short.
And I'm glad to see there are some younger siblings in the audience that I'm sure will be speaking before the committee at some point in the coming years. So excellent. Congratulations again. Thank you all very much. So you are welcome to stick around before we can listen and participate in the rest of the committee meeting, but you do not have to.
Single person who's ever seen I don't even know if this is I have to bring my sister. I have a dentist appointment right after.
So as those folks are filtering out, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, and that is our Student Advisory Council update. For that, I will turn it over to Representatives Lennox and Ferguson.
Yeah, so to start us off, a little sports recap from the weekend. For winter track, the boys had won their Hockomock team championships, which was great for them. And also there was the girls and boys South swimming sectionals. And for the girls, we came third overall, missing second place by only half a point. And that was out of 36 teams total. And there were school records broken in the 200 free and medley relays. And we placed first in both of those. And both teams were made from Ava Doherty, Sam Provost, Caroline Lynch-Bartek, and myself. And I had set a school record in the 500 freestyle as well. And I'm pretty sure all of our swims had placed within the top 8, which was great for all of us. And our coach has always said records are meant to be broken, and we were able to deliver that over this weekend.
Congratulations.
All right, Skills USA would also like to report that they had a very successful Winter Wonderland fundraiser in December, and it was able to connect multiple different trade programs while also gaining community support. And there were plenty of donations that are going to cover the costs of both districts and state competitions, and those are expected to begin at the end of this month. Students are also going to be representing Attleboro in, I believe, 10 different trades, so about half of our programs, and the first annual duck race is also coming to Attleboro, presented by Skills USA in May.
Any questions? Thank you very much, and congratulations again.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is the superintendent's report, and for that, I will turn it over to Mr. Sawyer.
Thank you, Chairman. Since we last met, at which time I had some executive orders I needed to report out, there have been a few more that have implications for our schools. I try not to editorialize too much, but it's been a constant theme in my time as superintendent that it is my belief that for public education to survive in a democratic society, it needs to remain apolitical, right? The schools are for all of the residents and therefore need to be a place where families of every political stripe can feel comfortable sending their children and know that the way that they look at the world will be respected and accepted. There are certainly forces at work in 2025 that are pretty committed to making that difficult. And in moments you'll see me certainly bristle at that. But I am, here to tell you that I am committed to continue trying to navigate a path in which we deal with the various issues of the day and do so in a way that is respectful of, again, all political stripes and not revealing any sort of a particular take on these issues. With that in mind, last week's order sort of problematic because at our last meeting, I tried to tamp down fears by saying, "Oh, don't worry, at the schools, we follow the laws, that protects us from most of what we have to worry about here. Don't worry, we're rule followers." The most recent executive order certainly begs the question, well, what happens when federal rules and state rules, seem to be incongruous? And I just wanted to take a moment to explain the answer that I gave to the committee in my update on Friday, which is that in matters in which there is a perceived conflict between various dictates, we follow what the state, tells us to do. We defer to the state. The reason for this is largely that in the United States, education is decentralized. Our model is very different than most of the rest of the world in that schools are aligned for local control, right? And as red-blooded Americans, I think most of us are glad that it's that way. And this body represents, I think, some of the strong thinking that goes into that way of setting up the system. Now, we do answer to the state in terms of our ability and rights to operate, and they have certainly some say over how we are to proceed. And so that's why, in many ways, our regulatory agency is the state, it's DESE, and we are accountable to them. To the degree that we deal with the federal government, and again, there's very little federal both support or control of schools in the United States. I've been an educator, for almost 30 years, and I have never dealt with the Department of Education. I've never interacted with a representative from the Department of Education. Largely, whatever rules that the Department of Education sets for education policy in the United States is enforced by the states, right? And so I'm here to tell you, if you're dealing with the Department of Education as a school district, that means you have done something really terrible because they don't have the resources to do much other than to deal with, the most egregious offenders of breaking various rules. And it's usually around violations around civil rights. So our experience as a district is that, the Department of Education is a faraway thing. And our accountability is to the state, and part of what the state does with us is to make sure that we follow federal law, right? That's part of what they do, and the federal government's oversight over their rules is enacted mostly through the states. So This is just my explanation for, why is it okay to say, well, we do what the state tells us, because largely it's the state who is in charge of making sure that we are following the rules, and so that's why their guidance is so central to how we choose to proceed. So that's basically the way it goes. I sent the guidance from the state, and we'll continue to share that as it's available. But we want to make very clear to everybody that in the state of Massachusetts, we have a legal obligation to educate all of our children, and that's the law of the land. That's how we operate. I know that there are concerns that people have around how that plays out exactly, but at the end of the day, there are children who live in the city of Attleboro, and unless they choose to do some of the other options that are available to them, it's our obligation to educate them. And we are going to continue to follow the goals that the committee has set through the strategic plan to create a belonging atmosphere in which all of our children feel like the schools belong to them as much as anybody else, and we're going to seek to educate them as best we can. So that doesn't change. Nothing that anyone says or does changes that. And a lot of the policy maneuvers that are part of the politics of our age don't really affect the way that we operate or conduct ourselves. And so the minute that changes, the administration has a duty to inform the community and its governing body as to what those things are and what the implications are, and we'll certainly do that. But I just want the committee to know, and anyone watching at home, that we're going to continue to do what we've been doing for as long as I've been involved, and nothing changes that.
Any questions or comments? Thank you.
All right, then I'm going to move on to a much more mundane matter, which are calendars. Before I turn it over to Ms. Regan, though, I just wanted to remind the committee that we reached an agreement with the AEA on a formula that sets the start and end dates for the school year. Basically, with that formula, I could tell you what the school calendar should be 100 years from now. What it doesn't tell you, though, is some of the decisions that get made within the school year in terms of both district events, early releases, things like that. And so as much as that agreement took some of the guesswork out of calendars and we can predict them well in advance now, we're going to annually still need to come before the committee and approve a given school year calendar because of some of the decisions that go into making what we refer to as the events calendar. So to explain the proposed events calendar for next year, I'll turn it over to Ms. Regan.
Thank you. So we've provided two calendars. One is the academic calendar, and that is I like to call it the colorful calendar, the one that has all of the months with highlighted days for half-day early release days and our professional development days, as well as our school vacations. Related to that is the district events calendar. And just to highlight a few things, the teacher's first day this year will be August 26th. The student's first day for students in grades 1 through 12 plus is September 2nd. The 6th district half-day professional days are listed on the academic calendar, but then also in the events calendar. The last scheduled day of school with 5 snow days is June 25th. And if there are no snow days, then the last day is going to be June 17th. The one thing that we also wanted to highlight for you is the events that are specific to each level. So for example, the back to school nights as well as parent conferences are also listed on this calendar. And then finally, graduation for Attleboro High School for the students in the class of 2020, 7, thank you.
No, 26.
Sorry, 26. The class of 2026 will be on June 5th. So that is in line with the Massachusetts Department of Ed regulations, where the date needs to be scheduled within up to 12 days before the regular school closing date of school. So we are within that window, and June 5th is what it's proposed to be.
So I will entertain a motion to approve the 2025-2026 academic and district event calendars.
So moved.
All right. So any questions for the administration? I do know that to Mr. Sawyer's point earlier, we can, based on the calendar formula that we've, as part of the collective bargaining agreement, we can predict a number of calendars, and I think the next 5 years of calendars are currently on the website for folks to review for planning purposes. Would it be possible to put notes on those that just say something along the lines of subject to school committee approval or draft or anything along those, just to make sure folks know those aren't necessarily set in stone?
We can add that, yes.
Any other questions? Mr. Bennett?
Thank you. When you had mentioned, I think it was around this time last year, that you were working on a formula or some sort of way to revamp the calendar so it's not like a whole new blank sheet of paper every year. At the time, it was still going through labor, so you weren't able to share what the magical one-sentence formula is, but I'd love to know what it is now if it's no longer a secret. Is it like
So it's
after the full moon when a bird's flying, or?
It's pretty close to that. So if you've got it nailed, jump in, but I'll do my best.
I bet we could both do it.
All right, team effort here. So the teachers start during the week before the last, is it Friday or Saturday?
Labor Day. Or the last Friday.
I think it's Friday.
Because it was one and then we switched it to the other, which is why I can never remember which one it is. But let's go with Friday. So the last Friday in August. So school for students always begins in the first available day after the last Friday in August.
First available day after the last Friday in
And we
August.
say it that way because in some years, the first available day is a Monday, and some years, because of Labor Day, it's a Tuesday.
It's poetry. I get it.
And in the years where it does start on the last Monday of August, it's followed by a 4-day weekend around Labor Day, correct?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Follow up.
Mr. Storrs?
Will there ever be a time where it's only a 3-day weekend leading up to the first day of school? Or is it always a 4-day?
The 4-day would be the 4-day weekend I'm referencing is for students.
Well, no. So the teachers are like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday the previous week. Then you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and usually the Monday. That's a 4-day weekend. Is there ever a time where it would be just 3 days?
For students?
For teachers, because they started the week before.
Yes. For
There are times where it would be.
For teachers, it could be 3 days.
Thank you. Yep, that's what I was looking for. Trying to figure it out in my head.
Any other?
One other quick one. So I did notice that with this year's Christmas vacation or winter holiday vacation, because the 2nd would be on a Friday, you took the day from the beginning of the vacation that they would normally have and moved it to the 2nd, so then they would come back the following Monday. That
On the 5th.
made sense to me, so I just wanted to, it was kind of like just take it from the front and move it to the back,
And
compared to the previous year.
I think this
The same
year-
amount of days.
I think this year, what happened was, because of where the Christmas holiday fell in the middle of the week, we gave an extra day
Towards the front.
on that week on Monday. Typically, we have gone up to the 23rd, but knowing that attendance on Monday, the 23rd, would have been
Right, so the first day
atrocious.
of this next calendars would be on the eve which is the first day off, right? Or is there a half day before?
It's a full day, the 23rd.
2 full days on December 22nd and December 23rd.
Yep, right. So it's the eve is the first day off. While in years past, they would get a day before.
So historically, and this calendar seems to fit this, we have gone with 2-day weeks.
Right.
But we don't do 1-day weeks.
And effectively, that's what I was getting at, is the fact that it would only be a Friday. Instead, move the vacation to include the Friday, and they come back the following week. Yep, that's what I just wanted to verify. Thank you.
So this will be the second year in a row that we're getting a full week and a half of that vacation rather than maybe a
Coming in
Tuesday
for
to a
1 day.
Thursday or something like that. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, so we have a motion and a second to approve both calendars. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
And that concludes my report.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda is approval of the minutes from our meeting on January 27th. These were updated today. I sent an email to the committee because there were 2 items that were omitted from the draft of minutes that were provided on Friday as part of the packet. The update included the preliminary vote for the Thatcher Elementary School Library and the summary of the strategic plan update that we had done. So I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes for our January 27th, 2025 meeting as presented.
So moved.
Second. All right. Motion and a second. Mr. Domenici.
Yeah, just a small thing, because I noticed the change for the 2025, navigating toward 2025 progress report. It says that the next scheduled meeting is March 12th, 2025, but I believe it's actually February 12th, 2025, because I moved an infrastructure meeting because of a conflict. So I think we should just reflect that.
We actually should we go ahead and just strike that from the minutes, because that's referencing the 2023 strategic planning process that's ongoing, whereas the discussion at the last meeting was a summary of where we are in the 2025 strategic plan that's concluding this June.
Oh, so that's for 2030.
Yeah, so
No, I still thought that our next meeting is,
the next meeting for that is February 12th.
okay.
But I don't think we had discussed did we discuss the 2030 process in that update about 2025?
I think we just described it at the end, saying that we're in the middle of it right now, and we may have given the dates at the end
Okay.
to let everyone know where we were in the process and when the next date would be.
Okay, so.
More of a reference.
Yeah, so let's confirm that reference and then update it accordingly. Any other questions or comments? All right, so I will entertain, nope. So all those in favor of approving the minutes as presented and edits discussed here? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next on the agenda is our consent agenda. There are 8 items on the consent agenda for tonight. I'll take all in one motion unless anyone has any objections. Seeing none. These include a motion to accept a donation from the J.S. Lim Foundation in the amount of $4,000, with $3,000 going to the Attleboro High School Scholarship Fund and $1,000 going to the gifts donation line at Attleboro High School. Motion to accept a donation of $300 from Jason McGrath going to the AHS DECA Club. Motion to accept a donation of $200 from Ed and Laura Fairweather to the AHS DECA Club. Motion to accept a donation of $200 from Bliss Restaurant to the AHS DECA Club. Motion to accept a donation of $100 from Briggs Corner to the AHS DECA Club. Motion to accept a donation of $100 from Goldmark Federal Credit Union to the AHS DECA Club. Motion to accept a contractual obligation in the amount of $153 from Planet Aid as broken down in the check receipt dated January 17th, 2025. And a motion to approve an overnight field trip proposal for Attleboro High School grade 10 through 12 students who qualify for the competition to attend the DECA State Competition at the Boston Seaport Hotel in Boston, Massachusetts, from February 27th, 2025 through March 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Congratulations to the DECA Club for cleaning up in this agenda. All right. Seeing no others, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next is our subcommittee meeting updates. The one update we have tonight is from our Finance and Budget Subcommittee from their February 12th meeting, and for that, I will turn it over to Subcommittee Chair Larson.
Thank you. So the subcommittee met February 5th. We had a lot of great discussions. First, we went through the budget reports. We're roughly halfway through the year, and we are in good shape. There is one item that will come up as one of the motions that we need to address. Not a big surprise, but we have a motion to help out in some special ed transportation. The rest of the night we spent talking about a few other items, primarily the update on where we are with the redistricting. The lab continues to do great work through its O&I Council, and currently we're still all still on track and on schedule. Some of the highlights, the consultant group that we've brought on board will be back in the city this week doing some more visitations in some of the buildings and doing some more evaluations of the spaces. The lab has been working, again, through the council, and they will be kicking off a redistricting webpage on the school's website, or on the district website, excuse me. And this will be coming maybe towards the end of February, but most likely by the first part of March. And this will be a great opportunity for family and people in the community to start to get an idea of exactly what redistricting is. We've been using the term quite a bit, but I'm sure there's folks out there that are not quite up to speed with what the process is and what we're going to be doing. So this will give them a lot of great information to that end. There will be community events that will be scheduled in March for the people, community to come out and get more information on how it's going to possibly impact folks. Then also, I believe in March, there'll be a survey going out to families in the grades to get a feel for what they know about the process and what they know about redistricting, so that we can focus some of our community events towards things that people may need to know more information about than they currently know now. And again, I would just like to really, the council and the lab are doing an amazing job at coordinating this and keeping the process on schedule. And so in the next couple of months, we should have a lot more to report on this. Again, it's a matter of trying to maximize the spaces in our buildings, especially in the elementary and the middle school levels, and then also to make sure that we have the right neighborhoods going to the right schools that they should be attending. I think it's important for people to know that some people will be impacted by this, but a vast majority, overwhelming majority, I would say, of the families in the district will not be impacted by this. But there will be some minor adjustments that get made. And again, it's to get people closer to the schools that they should be at, and to just help realign the district for better education going forward. So there'll be more to come on that. We do have 5 motions to come forward. I'll stop and just, if there's anyone on the committee that has any questions about redistricting first. Okay. The first motion is a motion to keep the fees for abacus, athletics, and the ELC the same, and to increase the fees for the AHS Children's Center in accordance, with the sheet provided to the subcommittee, and you all received that in your packets.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Second one has to do with fee for service and transportation. Motion to approve the increased fee for service by $15 for the first student, $10 for the second student, and $5 for the third student, with a maximum charge to a family of $500 per year.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Third is one that we do every year. Entertain a motion to approve letting Camp Ramsbottom use the Willard Elementary School parking lot for their drop-off and pickup for their summer camp program.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. I'm going to skip 4 for a second and come back to that. Fifth one is motion to approve the use of $365,000 from the Special Education Stabilization Fund to address cost overruns that are projected for the FY25 Special Education Transportation budget line item.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes. I have a question. Where does that put our balance? I know the city tries to do what they can to replenish.
In this current FY25, they did replenish what we used last year, so it was fully funded going into this school year.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't remember what the number was off the top of my head. I don't know. $1 million. Thank you. That was my first guess, but I want to guess. Any other questions? Yes.
Trying to remember, so last year, how much did we totally use? And are we on track to use about the same this year?
I believe we pulled out 300 last year.
So we're beyond that this year,
Yes.
which unfortunately I would expect. Yeah. All right.
But this, like I said, the city we did pull that out last year, and in the budget that we're working under right now, those funds were put back in, so we had the full $1 million to use. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. At this time, I'm going to ask Brittany to come up and help explain number 4. I've read it a number of times. And
Hi. So there's a public consulting group that reached out to us, so they're working with DESE to audit our out-of-district foster care transportation. And they had approached us saying there's about $16,000 to $18,000 that we could get reimbursed for, and just for them to work on our case and help us get that process going.
I love the short version of this. It was 5 pages long, so.
Yes.
I think I can head off a couple other questions. So, this is a group that reached out to us, so we would be entering into an MOA with them. There's no cost to us. So we like that part at the subcommittee meeting right out of the gate. And it's one of those things that's a very difficult issue to get your hands wrapped around. So having their expertise will not only save us, I think, funds this year, but also will help us look at this going forward in the future. So, all right, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm, and I think you somewhat touched on it, the $16,000 to $18,000 in that the grant would cover would help us, we'd be saving that in the actual, it's not covering the cost of the audit, or?
So the cost of the audit is coming through DESE, and they're working on that part of it. For us, it's just they're looking at our end of year report and seeing what reimbursements we didn't utilize and that we can get back from that.
Okay, so they're estimating that would be about $16,000 to $18,000.
That's what they had said. So, but they have to go through our reports and all the documentation.
Thank you.
Doris.
So just to summarize it, we give them access, we get free money.
Essentially.
I like that, okay.
We'll have to wait and see, but that's going to diminish it.
Thank you. How long is this MOA in place for?
I think it's an annual process. I would have to double check.
We'd have to renew the MOA every year. Okay. Thank you.
And
Mr. Chairman.
as a follow-up, would DESI continue to cover the cost of the audit every year? Or
It would
would
have to be
eventually
something we'd
that?
have to look into every year just to double check that part of it.
Okay,
It'd be a decision that we'd have to make on an annual basis, so.
yeah.
Thank you. Is there a copy of the MOA that's floating around we could see, or?
You read that into the right, I'm kidding.
No.
5-page.
Really substantial. I can't respond to this right now. Thank you, though.
You can have that.
What?
You can have that.
Wow, thanks. Can I keep the clip too?
You can have the paper clip too. Are there any other questions? Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Any abstaining or?
I'm abstaining, yeah, I don't.
Okay. All right, motion still is approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Next on the agenda is open forum. This is a time when members of the public may address the school committee. Open forum is not a time for committee members to engage in dialogue with members of the public. Guidelines for open forum are available to you. Please know that we are interested in what you have to say, but we cannot respond without background information on your issue. Each open forum participant will be given 3 minutes to address the committee. If you would like to address the committee as part of open forum, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name's Joey Ford. I'm at 44R Smith Street in Attleboro. Let me start by saying I'm rather disappointed that you guys are not talking about today how there's a staffing shortage at Peter Thatcher Elementary School. Project Success does not have a certified special needs teacher in there, and my son Loki is armed. So good evening, members of the school board, administrators, and fellow parents. My name is Joey Ford, and I'm here tonight as a father fighting for my son Loki and for all children with disabilities in this district who are being denied the education and support they are legally entitled to receive. I want to begin by addressing the issue of transparency, or rather the complete lack of it. As parents, we were informed that Loki's special education teacher was leaving. We were told that Shannon Stevens, a certified teacher, would be overseeing his classroom. What we were not told, until I had repeatedly pressed for answers and been denied over and over again, was that Ms. Stevens was only in the building for 3 days a week and does not provide any direct instruction to the students. This is a direct violation of his IEP. This was not freely disclosed. I had to ask tough questions, get denied repeatedly, and push back before I finally got the truth. The district has failed to provide a full-time certified special education teacher to my son's classroom, which is a direct violation of both federal and state law, which you guys said you follow. Under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, known as IDEA, United States Code Title 20, Section 1400, students with disabilities are entitled to a free, appropriate public education, which includes instruction from qualified personnel. This means that a trained, certified special education teacher should be present full-time in my son's classroom. Additionally, under Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, schools are legally required to ensure that students with disabilities receive the support and services necessary to have equal access to education. A paraeducator without a licensed teacher supervising them full-time does not meet this legal standard. I am demanding the following immediate actions. Number 1, a full-time certified special education teacher must be assigned to my son's classroom immediately. My child and his classmates are currently left in the care of paraprofessionals with no full-time certified teacher present. This is unacceptable, illegal, and a direct denial of my children's right to a free, appropriate public education. I want to know when a licensed special education teacher will be placed in Loki's classroom. Number 2, the district must address the ongoing lack of supervision that has resulted in serious incidents of neglect and injury. There have been multiple times that my child has come through, peed through, he's diaper-ridden, peed through to his socks. And we don't even find out until we ask why. There have been multiple injuries sustained by students also at recess. We know of one of them who fell, and unfortunately, none of the teachers knew what happened until the mom went and requested to watch the video. These are not minor issues. This is neglect. This is a failure of duty. This is a safety risk to our children. What is the district doing to ensure adequate supervision? How will you prevent further incidents of harm? Number 3, the district must waive the $5,000+ public records fee and provide all requested records to the school board and public that I have requested. I recently submitted a Freedom of Information Act request to obtain public records that would help me advocate for my child. I was quoted over $5,000 to access documents that should already be available for public review. This is a deliberate attempt to prevent transparency and accountability.
Mr. Ford, that's 3 minutes.
Okay.
What I'd like, though, following this meeting, I'll give you my email address so that you can share that statement with me.
Wonderful. I can have someone pick up where I left off, right?
They would also have 3 minutes, yes.
Yes.
If you could please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Dielle Celeste, and I reside at 46 Brookdale Street in Roslindale, Mass. All right, so I demand that these fees be waived immediately and that a copy of these records are provided to each student board member so that you can personally review them and understand the extent of these failures. Number 4, the district must immediately remove or revise the policy preventing Loki from having access to his augmentative and alternative communication AAC device year-round. Loki's IEP explicitly states that he requires an AAC device with no limitations. There is no provision in his IEP that allows the school to withhold this device without, during the school breaks or vacations, by taking away my nephew's only means of communication for weeks at a time. You are actively violating his rights under the idea and denying him the ability to communicate. This is not a request, this is a legal requirement. Either this policy must be eliminated or an exemption must be made for Loki immediately. All right, so I do have some final thoughts here to share. I am here tonight not just to voice my frustrations, but also to demand action. I expect these are real answers, concrete plans, and an immediate change. I want the following changes and answers. I have about 4 questions here. All right, so number 1, when will a full-time certified special education teacher be assigned to Loki's classroom? Number 2, what is the district's plan to ensure adequate supervision to prevent further neglect and injuries? Number 3, when will the district provide the requested public records and waive the unlawful fees? Number 4, when will Loki's AAC device be released to him year-round as required by his IEP? All right, so this is not about money. This is not about district policy. It's about children. Our children cannot afford to wait any longer for these basic rights to be upheld. I will continue to attend these meetings and hold these districts accountable until Loki and every other child with special education requirements have their needs met. They need education, support, and respect, and they need to have their rights be respected. Ultimately. So yes, thank you. On behalf of Loki's dad, Joseph Ford, and myself, his loving auntie / godmama. That is all.
Thank you. As mentioned, we can't answer any direct questions tonight, but
We'll be in contact.
Yeah, thank you very much. Is there anyone else that would like to address the committee as part of open forum? All right, seeing none, I will close open forum. Reminders of upcoming important dates. This Friday, February 14th, is early release day for district professional development. Reminder that next week is the February vacation, so there will be no school February 17th through February 21st. The committee's next full meeting is Monday, February 24th, here in the Zito Conference Room at 6:30 p.m. And that is followed on Wednesday, February 26th, by the Infrastructure and Facilities Subcommittee meeting at 6:30 p.m. Where is that meeting being held?
At Thatcher.
At Thatcher Elementary School. Yes. Any other updates or notices for the committee at this time? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Have a great night.